so do this year, but no, I got it. It's done. Thank you.
Yeah. Welcome to the African American Civil War Memorial. The statue is called the Spirit of Freedom. On the wall behind it, you have the 209,145 names of all the soldiers that were officially mustered in to Union colored designated regiments. Within the Union Army, there was a separate bureau during the Civil War established in May of 1863 called the Bureau of United States Colored Troops. Every name on our wall is taken from a muster record or a roll call record that is held at the National Archives, which I understand you'll be going to after this visit. Now, we tell the story at our museum in here of the freedom fighters who joined the Bureau of United States Colored Troops. Reading their writings, they would have called the Civil War the War for Emancipation. So we tell the story from that perspective. Now, I'm going to quickly, since we're here, I'm going to quickly tell you a story about one of our soldiers on the wall. His name is Bannister Jackson. Bannister Jackson enlisted in the 17th Corps d'Afrique in 1863 at the age of 12. The average age of a drummer boy during the Civil War was 14 years old. The youngest drummer boy to serve was 9 years old. The youngest drummer boy to be wounded in action was 11 years old. And this is the story of drummer Jackson, who is out of Louisiana. And again, he enlists in a unit called the 17th Corps d'Afrique. And this is called Freedom's Drum, the enlistment of drummer Jackson. Hope rose from black despair when I heard the drums in Congo Square. With freedom's song on my lips, I hurried to join the army God equips. With drums to beat out freedom's tune, prayed my mama would hear it soon. Remembered her face that winter night I ran away. With tears in her eyes she said she'd prayed that her son's rags would turn to Union blue, and that the Corps d'Afrique would soon subdue the authors of her black despair. The drum stopped when I arrived in Congo Square as the Corps' recruiting officer rose to speak. Noble sons of Africa, if it is freedom that you seek, then come on, boys, let's take a stand under Old Glory. And in the Corps d'Afrique, we'll write an end to this slavery story. Now they say they're colored boys who won't fight to be free. Well, boys, you know they ain't talking about the likes of you and me. As the sons of African nobility, we'll gladly stand and fight for our own liberty. So come on, boys, and march on down with me and get your issue of a blue uniform and a gun. And when this fight is done, let it be written that it was our own freedom we won. Now, as for those colored boys they say won't fight, we'll just have to carry them with us from the darkness to the light. We'll carry liberty's torch across this Confederate South, and we'll smack that old massa right in his Confederate mouth. And the big house will be the first to shout, "Tom, you Negroes are free." And all will know they were freed by the African soldiers of liberty. So come on, boys, and march on down with me. Then, as free men, we'll take a stand under Old Glory, and in the Corps d'Afrique, we'll write an end to this slavery story. I joined the march, following the officer in freedom's name. While marching, thrice he yelled, "Boys, your courage has freed the captive from his shame." In line I stood behind, scores of men proud to join freedom's fight. When I finally reached the sergeant, it was near night. "But you're just a boy," he said to me. And I replied, "But Sergeant, I too am a son of African nobility." He laughed and asked if I could play a drum. Then he ordered a private to bring me one. On old wash buckets and things, Uncle John had taught me how to play. And I was beating that drum like a veteran when night took over day. Under the dawn's early light, my rags turned to Union blue. And when winter turned to spring, my mama knew. God had answered her prayers when she heard the rum-tum-tum, the rum-tum-tum, the rum-tum-tum of freedom's drum. My mama yelled, "Oh, that's my son beating on that drum. Oh, thank God, the Corps d'Afrique has come." That scene played out in scores of plantations and communities across the Confederate South. After President Lincoln signed the Emancipation Proclamation, recruiting agencies were opened up to recruit these soldiers, these colored soldiers, these soldiers of African descent. And enforcing the Emancipation Proclamation, they went back to the plantations and communities they were from and liberated their own people. We tell the story of these freedom fighters. This is the spirit of freedom, and on our wall of honor are the names of those freedom fighters. There's a group of men.